Performances, the biggest names. The Gov's got you covered. Only on Huckabee.
All right, well, there are some new questions today about why a growing number of states are refusing to comply with federal immigration requirements. New York has just decided, the Governor Cuomo there just decided, that it will no longer work with Washington on a program that was put forth by President Obama and Janet Napolitano that is designed to catch and deport illegal immigrants with criminal pasts. We showed you just a couple of days ago how California is considering doing the same thing. A couple of other states are also considering making similar changes, including Illinois and Arizona. So Mike Gallagher joins me now. He's a Fox News contributor. You can also find him online at mikeonline.com. And Mark Sawyer is a political science professor at UCLA. Gentlemen, welcome. Good to have you here.
Hi, Martha.
Now, this was called the Secure Communities. Hi there. Secure Communities program. And the idea is that if somebody's being booked in a police station, once they come in for have been brought in on a charge, they will also be fingerprinted and cross-checked to make sure that they have no prior allegations and that they are legally in the country. Mark, why would anyone have a problem with that?
Because it goes way beyond that, and it involves checking people who report crimes, checking anybody who comes in contact with police. And in certain immigrant communities, it's a deterrent for people to report things like thefts, robbery, rape, domestic violence, and a whole other set of things, and it undermines the work that law enforcement needs to do.
But the way that this is designed, it is specifically stated that it is, in a police station, when you are booked, a cross-check is run. Mike Gallagher, is it your understanding that that's not the way this is happening?
That's exactly the way it's happening, and Professor Sawyer and others like him want to spin this into something that it's not. Look, the answer is very simple, Martha. It's all about the political ideology of a governor like Cuomo or others who are coming up with these preposterous examples of thumbing their nose at federal law. American citizens expect that people are going to obey the law, and it's so insane to think that Cuomo and others like him are trying to look the other way rather than enforce the law. But here's the reality. The answer lies in their ideology. A lot of people on the left don't want immigration laws. They don't believe in enforcing illegal immigration laws that are already on the books. They don't want a border. They don't want a secure border. They're wrong on the issue. They're out of touch with America, but that's why this is happening.
What I'm wondering, and this will go back to Mark Sawyer, what I'm wondering in this was put forth by the Obama administration, this Secure Communities Act, that requires policemen to cross-check when they bring somebody in. And Janet Napolitano has said that she will not stand for states not recognizing this program. So what's your response to that, Mark?
It's exactly the kind of nonsense that Mike is talking about, the left and immigration policy. The fact is that there isn't a line for people to stand in. And so the nuance thing is that the Obama administration is trying to show people like John McCain and Lindsey Graham and the nativists like Mike Gallagher that the federal government can and will enforce immigration law. But others like Mario Cuomo are trying to come back and say, look, we need something that's fair. We need to take care of the people here that are working, who have citizen children, who are contributing to our communities, and we don't want to terrorize the people in communities here while we go about it. So why don't we, in contrast with enforcing immigration law, why don't we create a pathway to citizenship or a pathway to regularize the status for people who mean us no harm? And those things, and that's a nuanced view that Mike doesn't want to agree with, and it's perfectly sensible. And so there's some pushback against the president because they've had record number deportations.
All right.
Not a lot of nuance behind.
And they could never do enough. Mike will never give him credit for it.
I thought we were talking about illegal immigrants. We're not talking about people who arrive in this country legally, and we're talking about people who have broken the law. Let's just be very specific here. Mike,
but that's part of the so-called nuance that people like Mark like to try to foist upon people. There's no nuance to it.
All right, let's talk about this nuance. Let's talk about this nuance.
Of illegal immigration versus immigration.
Let's bring up a picture of Kevin Will, who was a police officer in Houston. He was laid to rest on June 2nd. He was killed by a drunk driver who was from Honduras, 28-year-old drunk driver, who I believe had prior convictions as well. Kevin Will was 38 years old. Here's the man who was driving drunk, who plowed through a police barricade and killed this young officer. Mark, the idea is to prevent things like this from happening.
Preventing drunk driving isn't about immigration or preventing people from coming to the country,
No.
unless you believe
was an
that
illegal,
immigrants
Mark.
tend to be drunk more often than Americans, and I would don't accept that.
No, that's not the point at all. The point is that the man was in the country illegally. Had he not been here, had he been deported on the first or second offense, he wouldn't have taken the life of this 38-year-old police officer and left his family without anybody.
Is that a
You don't have any
hardworking
problem with that,
immigrant?
Mark?
I mean, I have a problem with drunk driving, but to put drunk driving and immigration together are two different kinds of things. Look, we need farm workers. We don't have a line for them to stop in. The only way that people come in to work on these farms are often they end up undocumented. These are the kinds of things that we run. That's why we need a pathway so that workers can come to the United States. Now, how we deal with them once we're here is a whole separate set of things, and we need to regularize their status. We need to be able to monitor people. We need to be able to have them paying taxes and things like that.
Mike, your response.
There really is a common sense aspect to what you're asking, Martha, and the good professor doesn't want to deal with common sense. He wants to pretend that there's nuanced shades of gray here. The fact is, you're right. The drunk driver shouldn't have been here, and that policeman would have been alive today. Most Americans get it. Sadly, the professor and others like him do not.
Yeah, I mean, what's important to understand here is that you have to violate the law in order to be in a position where you're cross-checked. So that's
not true.
All right. You say it's not true.
Well, why are you in the police station?
Immigration is not about crime. It's about jobs and immigration and communities. It's not about crime.
It's illegal
Mike
immigration,
Gallagher, Mark
Mark.
Sawyer.
Illegal, not immigration.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
And
we're going to stay on
not a
top of this
crime.
because it is spreading to other states as well, and it's an issue that President Obama wants to see carried out in police stations across this country, as does Janet Napolitano. All right, we thank those gentlemen for being with us today.